Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to completely dismantle a so-called superpower that almost all of us think we have: multitasking. So let's just jump right into it with a direct question. Think about your average day. Do you pride yourself on your ability to juggle a million tasks at once? Like, do you think you can flawlessly fire off an email while listening to a conference call and planning out your grocery list? Well, brace yourself, because the hard scientific reality we found in the research is that you actually aren't. And honestly, believing you are might be doing some real damage to your brain and your career. The truth is, literally none of us are naturally gifted at doing multiple complex things at the exact same time. Let's look at why. Section 1. The illusion, your brain's bottleneck.
Okay, here's what's physically happening under the hood. Your brain simply doesn't parallel process. It's anatomically impossible for conscious thought. Your prefrontal cortex actually acts as a bottleneck, and that forces you to rapidly switch between tasks instead. You aren't actually doing two things at once. You're just bouncing back and forth really fast.
Researchers Meyer and Kieras actually mapped out this hidden mental reset that happens when we do this. First, task A gets deactivated. Then, your brain has to completely clear the context of that task. Third, the context for task B is finally loaded. All of this costs anywhere from 1/10 of a second to half a second per switch. Your brain is basically acting just like a computer, struggling to load different heavy programs.
Which brings us to Section 2, the shocking cognitive toll.
Now, a half-second switch might sound pretty trivial, right? But listen to this massive number: 23. According to researcher Gloria Mark at UC Irvine, it takes an average of 23 minutes to return to a task at your original depth of focus after just a single interruption. So if you pause a complex project for a quick 2-minute phone check, the true cost to your deep focus is actually 25 minutes.
And if you think leaving your inbox open all day is harmless, get this. Dr. Glyn Wilson at the University of London found that constant email and phone interruptions drop your working IQ by 10 points. To put that into perspective, that is more than double the cognitive impairment of smoking cannabis. You are literally halving your cognitive capacity just by keeping that inbox tab open. And this illusion of multitasking gets measurably dangerous when you're behind the wheel. The University of Utah study actually found that your reaction times while talking on a hands-free phone are comparable to driving drunk. The feeling of safety you get from a hands-free device is just that, a total illusion, because your brain is still trying to process two complex streams of cognitive information at once, which makes you incredibly prone to multiplying errors. Now, here's a major reality check. You know those people who constantly brag about being skilled, heavy multitaskers? Well, a 2009 Stanford study revealed that they are actually the worst at it. Why? Because they completely fail to filter out distractions. Their brains become so conditioned to jump at every new stimulus that they totally lose the ability to block out the irrelevant noise. And it goes even deeper than that. Constant media multitasking, like having 3 different screens open at once, actually changes your physical brain. Researchers Lowe and Kanai found that it reduces gray matter density in the anterior cingulate cortex. That's the exact area of your brain required for cognitive control. You are quite physically rewiring your brain to have less focus. So why do we do it? Section 3. Modern distraction traps. A lot of it comes down to Sophie Leroy's incredible concept of attentional residue. When you switch from task A to task B, a portion of your attention literally remains stuck on task A. This is exactly why you might miss words in a real-life conversation when you're reading a text message. Fragments of your focus are left behind on that previous task, so neither task gets your full mental presence. This perfectly explains the productivity paradox of the modern workplace. We constantly confuse busyness, where frantic activity just feels like progress, with true productivity, which is actually accomplishing meaningful output. When we multitask, we basically just exhaust ourselves trying to look busy without actually getting the real work done. And if you happen to work in one of those trendy, open-plan offices designed to, increase collaboration, the reality is pretty grim. The modern open office is really just an interruption factory that destroys deep focus. Interruptions skyrocket, job satisfaction tanks, and remarkably, workers in open offices take 1.8 times more sick days. This constant task-switching environment is literally exhausting us. Software developers definitely know this pain intimately, often losing up to 20 minutes for every single context switch. That is exactly why Paul Graham advocates so strongly for protecting the maker schedule.
which requires long, uninterrupted blocks to create things, from the highly fragmented manager schedule, which is chopped up into endless hour-by-hour meetings.
So how do we fix it? Section 4, the solution, serial monotasking.
First, let's be super clear about what is actually possible. You can easily pair an automatic, non-cognitive physical task with a cognitive one. So doing the dishes while listening to a podcast, that works perfectly. But you absolutely cannot pair two cognitive tasks with full comprehension. Trying to write an important email while listening to a podcast? Yeah, that fails completely.
To finally beat this multitasking illusion, you need to adopt serial monotasking. It's a 3-step framework, and it's highly effective. 1. Dedicate focused time blocks to single tasks. 2. Turn off all your notifications. And 3. Protect these blocks just like you would a crucial meeting with your boss. By finishing a task completely before switching, you entirely eliminate that damaging attentional residue.
I want to leave you with a bit of a challenge to test the science for yourself. What will you achieve in the next hour if you put your phone in another room? Seriously, give it a try today. Dedicate your brain to one single task for 60 minutes and just notice the incredible difference in what your single tasking brain can achieve. Thanks so much for exploring this explainer with me, and hey, happy monotasking!